Wednesday. Good to see you all here today. I'm joined here by Deputy County Executive Corinda Crosdell and Jennifer Lake from the Goodwill of Finger Lakes, along with Lori O'Brien from the Tenant Defense Project, to talk about a very important and critical issue, which is eviction prevention and the housing supports related to the pandemic. Last week, as you know, I announced the creation of our Housing Quality Task Force, which will take 90 days to examine the full scope of issues that cause too many of our residents to live in substandard housing. And they're going to look at the underlying factors that put residents at risk of eviction and eviction in general, whether it's related to the pandemic or not. The task force is going to bring me that report within 90 days. And that report will help us develop some long-term policy recommendations to improve Rochester's housing market and create housing stability for some of our most vulnerable residents. But today, we are here to talk about the immediate concern of pandemic-related evictions and housing stability. As many of you may know, the pandemic eviction moratorium was lifted on January 15th, and we expect that eviction cases will begin to hit the court soon. The moratorium on utility shutoffs has also been lifted. This has the potential to impact thousands of people in the Rochester area in the middle of winter. There's the latest survey from the Census Bureau that showed about 15,000 households in our region were still behind in rent in January, and while it's difficult to estimate how many of those will lead to eviction, we can expect a high number of residents to be impacted. And to that end, the City of Rochester, in conjunction with Monroe County, have already dispersed $45 million in federal stimulus funding to help with rent relief and legal assistance to prevent evictions. This shows that unprecedented partnership that we have with the county, and I want to thank the county executive for his partnership on this. This has helped stabilize over 8,000 households during the worst part of the pandemic. Most of those funds have been distributed. However, there are still support programs available to those who need them. And I want people to know that they are not alone. It's very important that we push information out to the public so that way they know what is available to them. If anyone is feeling the potential of an eviction, it's important that you understand your rights. So we have the Tenant Defense Project here, and they provide lawyers free of charge. If you are facing challenges with childcare, food, security, utilities, or mental health, there are also help for those things as well. You can call 211 to find out about programs in our community that could provide you with some relief. 211 operators are there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and it doesn't matter what language you speak, they are there for help. You need to know that there are support services that are available to you, and again, I want to urge you to call 211. The county executive's office and I are extremely grateful to the men and women who work every day to provide these support services, but they only work if people use them. So we want to encourage folks to use 211. So spread the word. You're not alone. Help is available. 211 or the Tenant Defense Project. At this time, I'd like to ask the Deputy County Executive, Corinda Crosdell, to come forward and offer her perspective on this issue. And then after that, I'll have Jennifer Lake come up, and Jennifer will be followed by Lori O'Brien, and then I'll take some of your questions. I said I'll take one off-topic question when we get to it. I'm on a tight time schedule, so we're going to stick to that. So let me have our distinguished Deputy County Executive, great partner with the city, Corinda Crosdell, come up and offer some comments.
Thank you, Mayor. It's a pleasure to be here this afternoon on behalf of our County Executive, Adam Bello. He had a conflict and wasn't able to make today's conference. We all know that testing, masking, vaccinating, and other tools are how we've beaten back the COVID virus. But we can't forget the other issues the pandemic has caused. The post-pandemic is still going to be a very tough time for many residents in our county. The protections that have kept people in their homes, kept them warm, and kept the lights on are all ending. No one should worry about how they're going to pay their utilities or where they're going to sleep at night. That's the harsh reality that many face here in Monroe County. As the mayor mentioned, since March of 2020, Monroe County and the city has distributed over $44 million in rental assistance. In addition to that, since 2020, Monroe County distributed more than $58 million through financial support for utility payments. Between rent and utility assistance, That's over $96 million. That's a lot of money. But still we have neighbors who face housing concerns. While state and federal dollars to prevent eviction are depleted, there are still ways that folks in our community can get help. If you or someone you know is facing challenges with any of the issues that we're talking about here today, please encourage them to call 211. Jennifer's team at 211 has been answering thousands of calls for help throughout every phase of the pandemic, and they're ready to help 24/7. And if you yourself are dealing with the potential of eviction, please contact the Tenant Defense Project. Lori will talk more about that this afternoon. I want to underscore the point. The worst thing you can do is nothing. Stable, safe housing is not a privilege, it's a right. So we're asking those in our community today to please take action. I thank you, and I want to invite Jennifer Lake to the podium.
Thank you, Deputy County Executive Crosdale. 211 is here. It's a service to help quickly, efficiently put residents in touch with programs that can help them through many of life's challenges. In 2021, we responded to over 297,000 contacts through our 211 Lifeline program via phone, chat, text, and website inquiries. We employ bilingual and bicultural Spanish speakers with telephonic translation in hundreds of languages, as well as texting, web chat, and TTY lines for those that are hearing impaired or prefer that digital modality. With all of these benefits ending, we've been working with a broad coalition of community agencies to create a campaign to encourage people to call 211 for help. We want to thank ESL Charitable Foundation, United Way of Greater Rochester and the Finger Lakes, and Excelis Blue Cross Blue Shield for funding this initiative. We help people with countless questions and make referrals based on what they need. When it comes to those facing eviction, we often refer people to the Tenant Defense Project. To speak a bit more about that program, I'm pleased to introduce Lori O'Brien.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to have this opportunity to speak about the Tenant Defense Project. It's really a unique and innovative opportunity for us in civil legal services to combine our collective efforts, not just with other legal providers, but with so many stakeholders across the community, including my friends and partners here today. Now, this project combines resources from 4 legal service providers: the Legal Aid Society of Rochester, Legal Assistance of Western New York, Just Cause, and the Empire Justice Center. And we came together to provide services in a more integrated, holistic, and meaningful way. Prior to this initiative, we provided housing services in a less integrated fashion. We weren't able to meet the true needs of the community. Working together with our partners, we now have a chance to do that. Thinking about the Tenant Defense Project now, it began truly in its current form in 2020. From September of 2020 until December of 2021, we've had almost 10,000 community members contact the hotline for information and guidance, nearly 5,000 intakes for legal representation. About 2,000 of those were intakes done in court. Now, under the Tenant Defense Project, we operate a hotline that's operated by Just Cause staff and volunteers. They're there to help you find the information you need. We know evictions, we know unstable housing is scary, and there's a lot of fear about what's going to happen next. So we want to make sure you get well connected to that hotline. The hotline number is 585-504-6195. I'll say that again, 585-504-6195. Now, beyond the hotline, Legal Aid Society and Law New York are providing direct representation in Rochester City Court. Under the Consolidated Court of Town and Villages, Just Cause is providing direct legal representation, is continuing with those cases, and we're working now to expand our ability to cover town and village courts as they return to their way of operating prior to the pandemic. Now, we also know that individuals faced with eviction don't need legal services alone. There's a lot of other supports in the community, including our friends at 211, and it's essential that those community members that are in a situation where they're trying to navigate an eviction reach out to 211, reach out to community partners, community organizations that can help them with the myriad of needs that is occurring because of the eviction. Everyone's situation is different. Everything that led up to this eviction is particular to you and your family, and we want to make sure that we really assess what you need to recover and have really long-term stability after the pandemic. We also want you to know your rights. Your landlord must take you to court and have a judge order you to move. A landlord can evict you through use of force or other unlawful means like changing your locks, turning off your utilities, removing things from your apartment. If you receive court papers, I'm going to repeat the message that has already been sent: act. Don't delay. Start working on that right now. Call the Tenant Defense Line at 504-6195. Call our partners at 211. There's no wrong door. We want you to get connected to the people that can help you. The other item is, if you need rent relief and you found an organization that can assist you, or you've contacted 211, make sure that's in progress prior to your court date. But thank you again. Thank you again for the opportunity to speak to you. Again, I'm just going to reiterate what all of our partners have said today, that please act. And together, we think we can provide the services that can support you and your family, and we want to make sure that you're connected to the programs that are available to you. Thank you so much. I'm going to turn it back over to our mayor.
Thank you. Thank you all. Again, thank you all for being here. Again, I want to thank Deputy County Executive Corinda Crosdale, Jennifer Lake from Goodwill, and Lori O'Brien from the Tenant Defense Project. And again, urge all of our residents, very easy number to remember, 211, dial it if you are experiencing any challenge related to housing, food, child care, all those things. It's a one-stop shop number to call. I refer people to that number regularly. People should not have to remember 101 numbers. All you got to remember is 211, and then they can direct you as to where you may need to call or connect you directly to those resources. So with that, I will take some questions. Let's first questions on topic on this. Who has some questions? Yes, sir. Do we know that yet, Ms. O'Brien? How many people are in the court system yet?
So I can tell you that
To the mic.
I can tell you that pre-pandemic, we were looking at almost 9,000 evictions in Rochester City Court. It's really hard to determine what the numbers will be right now. Right now, our attorneys on the ground in court, they're still working through rescheduled cases that have come up previously. We are getting word from various courts that filings are now occurring, but I think we'll have a better estimate in a few months from now.
But the bottom line is that we need to do everything we can between now and any of those times to prevent those evictions, but also get people access to those resources now, right? And that's why we wanted to make sure that we highlighted this today. So I want to reiterate again that it is critical that we have people call 211. As it was said by every speaker, we cannot wait. Sometimes when we think something bad is going to happen, we put it off, we put it off, we put it off. We can't put off for tomorrow what we can do today. And picking up your cell phone or a landline, or if you can find a payphone anywhere in the city of Rochester, there's still some around. Hit those 3 numbers so you can make sure that you get that relief that you need. Any other questions?
What are some of the services that lawyers can provide?
Lawyers?
So the primary service under the Tenant Defense Project is one, information and guidance through our hotline, but also direct legal representation in court, having someone with you navigating the process of eviction, advising you of your rights, negotiating with landlords or property management companies. I also want to point out the Empire Justice Center is one of our project partners. They're providing litigation and advocacy support. And also, all the civil legal service providers have other areas of expertise, whether it's immigration, family law, income maintenance, health law, and individuals, you know, often, again, we're not facing an eviction in a vacuum where that is the only legal issue or the only issue we're faced with. And so tenants calling into the tenant defense line will have access to our other programs and services.
Okay, any other questions? Who's got an all topic? Who's that? Of course you.
Real quick, over the last few weeks, we've had some random shots
Yep.
in up homes. In fact, somebody last night, a gentleman was injured by one going into his house. What is the city doing to address this? And I guess, how can you advise?
Yeah, I got it. Look. First off, the city can't. The first answer to that question is the city can't address this alone, because when you have people who decide that they want to shoot into houses, many times, a lot of these fall into different categories. One category is we have people who are involved in illicit activities, so they're individuals who they have beefs with decide to shoot in the house. Another category are people who have general beefs. They've had issues. And then the other folks are people who are caught in the crosshairs because they're shooting at people when they're hitting the house. We need a couple of things to happen. Obviously, the city, this is an issue that is very important to us, but we need individuals to come forward and cooperate with us. In many of these instances, people whose houses have been hit are uncooperative. So we need people to feel as though they have the ability to step up and work with law enforcement, work with the city so we can deal with that. The second thing is, and I've been talking about this for months, is the proliferation of illegal guns. So most of these people that are shooting up these houses, they're not going over to the county clerk's office to see Jamie Romeo fill out a form and wait in the waiting period. These are illegal guns that continue to flow into this community, and they're finding their ways, and we're manifesting themselves with bullet holes that are hitting people's houses. It's unacceptable. It needs to stop. And for us, it's a double-edged approach. Obviously, it's the law enforcement approach, but also trying to mediate a lot of these beefs that as we become aware of them. But the only way that we can become aware of them is if people want to come forward and talk. And that's why our Office of Neighborhood Safety, Victor Saunders' works that he's doing with our Pathways to Peace program, and our overall centralization of violence reduction programs in the mayor's office is so important. So whenever you hear about one of these shots hitting a house, it amplifies why this is so important. But the one point I want to underline is that individuals need to come forward. Parents, you should know if a child is not old enough to be a gun owner, you should be looking to see if they have access to a gun. But this spans the spectrum. Many times it's young people, but there are also older folks who are also wreaking havoc in these neighborhoods. And then the last point I make is why this is important and why it should concern folks is because innocent people are often hit by bullets, and that's one of my biggest concerns. I'm not saying that I'm not concerned when two people have beefs and they're shooting at each other. I'm concerned about that as well. But when it really gets my blood to boil is when an 11 or 12-year-old kid is minding their own business and a bullet goes and hits their house. So there are no easy answers. Illegal guns are part of it, disrupting disputes, but also going after individuals who have a history, and most of these people have a history of carrying illegal firearms and causing unnecessary terror in this community. We're not going to tolerate it, and we'll attack it from a lot of different levels. Okay, anything else? Thank you very much. Have a good day. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, folks.